everyone, today we're doing our second part in our Batman review series, and we're going to be talking about Batman Returns from 1992. Let's talk.
Above Gotham looms its greatest hero.
So Batman Returns was released on June 19th, 1992, and it follows Batman as he fights not one, but two villains this time. He fights Catwoman and the Penguin, played by Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny Devito, respectively. And I think that they all did a great job in this movie. What do you think?
Fantastic job. But do you consider Catwoman a villain?
I would say that she's an anti-hero, but she definitely has some villainous traits.
Yeah.
I know that that's obviously the love interest in this movie as well, and it really does float a line, but I wouldn't say that she's a good person.
No, but I wouldn't say she's bad either. You know,
No. Penguin's the one obviously working towards...
He's the main villain.
He's the bad guy.
Danny DeVito. I love Danny DeVito. I mean, we're big Always Sunny in Philadelphia fans, but he's just so disgusting.
No, that's one thing I was watching now. This is probably the Batman movie I've probably seen the most, and I was like watching it, I'm like, how does nobody question that this man, who is clearly not normal, he's a penguin. He's got weird hands.
Flipper.
Yeah, and he bites that guy's neck, and it's just
could be worse. Yeah. My nose could be gushing blood.
What? And everyone is just like, you know what? That's the guy who's gonna be our mayor.
Mayor Cobblepot.
Yeah. So he's just a monster, but no, he plays this role perfectly. And I think Danny DeVito, other than Always Sunny, this is him for me.
Oh, and then the waddle and that onesie suit he's wearing. It's just he definitely looked like he grew up in the sewer.
Yeah, and
very believable.
You know, his parents dropped him in the sewer. Actually, fun fact: his father was played by Paul Rubin, who was Pee Wee Herman, and Tim Burton's first movie was Pee Wee's Big Adventure. So it's a nice little callback to have him in there. Also, terrible father, though. You know, I get it that your kid was born a penguin, and you probably have some questions for your wife. But, you don't have to dump him in the river, because now look what happened.
Yeah.
You know?
This all could have been avoided.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't have a movie.
No, but actions lead to consequences, kids. And then that brings us to Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. How do you think that she did?
Again, fantastic. She made being bad look fun. I love when she's making her suit, and when she's making the transition.
Oh, that
to
apartment
Catwoman.
scene is so good.
But what does bother me is how she turned into Catwoman, just falling, and then the cats just nibble on her fingers, and all of a sudden she's Catwoman.
And then she also has 9 lives like a real cat.
Yeah, so there's some plot holes there.
But this is what brings me, this is why I feel like
But
Batman...
it's a comic book movie, so...
But I also feel like this is more of a Tim Burton movie than a Batman movie. I feel like there's a lot of Tim Burton in here. I feel like the tone really got dark. And I know that we're not the only ones who felt this, or at least not me, is because after this they shifted to a very kid-friendly model with Batman Forever. So, because this movie is dark, and it has some scenes that genuinely are a little scary, and I couldn't imagine, I watched this as a kid and I didn't get scared, but there's something wrong with me. But I could see other kids getting scared of this movie.
Yeah, Penguin used to make me uneasy, to say the least, when I was a kid. When that black stuff would come out of his mouth, or he's going crazy in the car, driving the Batmobile and the little duck.
Again, he somehow he hired people to actually do this somehow. To somehow make a giant duck car for him and a mini Batmobile, and it's just some of it's a little unbelievable, but it's still crazy. Man, it's still good. I mean, I still like this movie. I can't say I don't, to be honest.
As I said in the other video, this was my favorite Batman for a very long time. I love Catwoman in it. I love Penguin.
But then, as far as the movie goes along, we also have Christopher Walken playing Max Schreck, and he's another piece of garbage, if I could say so myself.
Christopher Walken, excellent job in his role. Yeah. I love that scene when he pushes Selena out the window, and he's like, and he pushes her out the window. That's the best.
such Christopher Walken, and he has this, whoever the actor is playing his son is clearly doing a Christopher Walken impression. You know? Go, Dad, save yourself. I don't know, I can't do it. But either way, it's ridiculous. So one thing I noticed while watching this time was actually during the ball scene. I'm sure I'm not the first person to bring this up, but I noticed that Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne, who have a love connection in this movie, when they finally realize who each other is, they're the only two people in that ball not wearing masks, and that's because they consider their masks their human identities and not their superhero identities. They are most comfortable being Batman and Catwoman. So actually being Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle, for them...
is their disguise.
That's their disguise. That would be them dressing up. So I actually thought that was really cool and some amazing filmmaking from Tim Burton. But as far as overall for this movie, I would have to say that it's a drop down for me from Batman. That doesn't mean it's a bad movie in any stretch. It's just if Batman's the mountaintop for me, obviously everything is going to be a little worse. But for me, this is still a good Batman movie I think you should check out. It's celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, so I can't think of a better time. It's also a Christmas movie, I feel like. Not a real Christmas movie, but it takes place around Christmas time.
I watch it every year for Christmas.
Yeah, so overall, I think I'd probably say that this is a solid 8 out of 10 for me.
I would say 8.5 out of 10.
Now, we did talk about the 4Ks in the last video, but it's the same thing. The Batman Returns 4K is in the same set. A little bit different packaging.
We got the steelbook within a steelbook. So each movie has their own steelbooks within the big box. And you just got your basic 4K in there. The Blu-ray does not come in there, so keep that in mind.
No, you have to save that for the standard edition, which is just a regular box with maybe or maybe not a slipcover. It depends on where you get it
If you have the option to watch it on 4K, I don't know why you would want the Blu-ray, but...
it does exist. Yeah, if you want, we obviously, here at this channel, we're going to recommend the 4K. Honestly, this is a step up from the Batman 1989 4K, in my opinion. The white of the snow really pops from the HDR in this, and I would really recommend you actually check out that 4K. I think it's actually one of the better looking ones overall, 4K in general. I can't say enough.
And I love sound, and the Dolby Atmos soundtrack does not disappoint.
Oh yeah, that was giving my speakers a run last night for that money. And you know what, it was definitely worth it. But yeah, but if you don't, believe me, we understand money's always an issue. So they are on HBO Max again. Make sure you check it out. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. And as always, thanks for joining us on Let's Talk. And like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends.